All right, so we are moving on to session 2 for lesson 17. We're going to continue uh, dividing decimals, but we're going to focus on dividing them by whole numbers. And we're going to use some techniques today that involve converting some of your numbers into your decimal numbers into whole numbers and drawing things out. And then towards the end, I'll kind of show you just the traditional way to set things up. So again, you've got different methods to find the answer. This lesson explores several different ways to do that. So let's start with a warm up. So one of the things you're going to have to do for this lesson is to see numbers like these. So we have 0. 0.4 and 5.2. We can convert these decimals into a whole number to make our dividing a little bit easier. So for example, 0. 0.4, that can be 4/10. Um, this 0. 0.4, if we needed to convert it to hundredths, you would just add a 0 over there, and that would become 40 hundredths. For this over here, the 5.2, that would become 52 tenths. And if we needed to change this to hundredths, that would become 520 hundredths. So again, we'll be converting our decimals into their whole number form, because again, these actually equal each other. A whole number of 4 can equal, for example, this one. A whole number of 4 can equal 0. 0.4 if we call it 4/10. If that makes some sense. It'll probably make a little more sense once we do some practice ones. All right, so open up to page 351, and let's just jump right into it. So Coach Ann is setting up a 2.7-kilometer race. She uses flags to mark off 9 equal sections of the race. How far apart should she space the flags to mark the sections? Well, first of all, our total that's being divided is 2.7 kilometers. And we're dividing that into 9 equal sections. So one of the techniques we like to try out here is let's draw this. So if you have the number 2.7, that's going to equal 2 holes. That 2 right there, that's going to be your 2 holes. And then that 0.7 is 7/10. And another way to do this, we can draw it. That's 1 hole. This is 2 hole. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your 7/10. So kind of writing it out, and I've got a visual for you. So one thing we can do is we can trade in 1 hole. Like this can become 10/10 because there's 10 different parts there. Each one of these can be 10. And these guys right here, that's your 7/10. So these can all total 27/10. So now what we have is a pretty simple division problem. We have our 27/10, and we need to divide it in 9 equal sections. And 27 divided by 9 is 3. And if we're dividing 27/10, that becomes 3/10. Okay. So 27, 3/10 or 0.3 could also be that kilometers. Here you go. All right, let's move on. If you turn the page, we've got some, you could draw a bar model, get a more visual depiction of it. So you've got your 2.7 kilometers here, and it's split up into 9 equal groups. And we figured out that this letter K is just basically talking about kilometers. Like you'll learn that in algebra that they use specific letters to kind of represent certain parts. And we know that each one of these is 3/10. So if we add up all of these, Fill up all of these. Sorry for my writing, it's my smartboard. We know if we multiply 3/10 times 9, gives me 27. I've got one space for my decimal point, so 2.7 kilometers, and this answer checks out. That's one way of doing it, drawing out with these bar models. These are great for division. We can also convert a division problem into a multiplication problem. So for example, like we were doing yesterday with our IXL, if we want to know 2.7 divided by 9 equals something, we know we can take these next terms. So 9 times something equals 2.7. And we know that 9 times 0.3 equals 2.7. And this is our answer right there. So again, if it's easier for you to multiply, convert your division problem to a multiplication problem. Let's go over the notes. Number 1, why is the bar divided into 9 equal parts? So Coach Ann is making 9 equal sections. Equal sections to the race. What do you need to find? The length of each section. Pretty straightforward. Look at Model It. That's the one over on the left where we did the conversion from division to multiplication. How's the division expression 2.7 divided by 9 relate to the bar model? You are dividing 2.7 kilometers into 9 groups. Number 3, explain how you know that 2.7 equals 27 tenths. Well, we knew that 2 ones equal 20 tenths plus the 7 tenths that are left over. How far apart should Coach Ann space the flags? 3/10 of a kilometer, and we know we can convert 3/10 into this number, 0.3. Explain how you could divide a decimal by a whole number. Not a lot of space here to write this, so I'm just going to simply put, you can think of the decimal as a whole number. Like we made that 2.7 into 27. And then we just had to make sure when we got our quotient or our answer that we made sure it was stated as tenths instead of a whole number. And with more practice, this will make more sense. All right. We skip these usually. All right, let's try some techniques out. Here's number 7. This is all on page 354. How much will each person receive if $20.35 is split equally among 5 people? So here's an interesting technique. So here is the total, and we're splitting it among 5 people. So this amount is getting divided by 5. But we can split up the 20.35 into 20 wholes. And this becomes 35 hundredths. I bet you didn't know you could do that. So let's do the wholes. Let's do 20 wholes divided by 5 equals 4 wholes. And let's try 35 hundredths divided by 5 equals 7 hundredths. So your final answer, 4 wholes, would be your $4, and 7 hundredths is written as 0.7 because the 7 has to be in the hundredth spot to give it to us. It can't be 4.7 because that would be 70 cents. So 4.07. Let's try a couple more. What is 99 hundredths divided by 11? Show your work. Well, let's set this up. 0.99 divided by 11 equals this. Let's convert this to a multiplication problem. So this will be 11 times something equals 0.99. I know 11 times 0.09 will give me that 0.99. So our answer is this. It is 9 hundredths or 0.9. And last one. So this one I'm going to set up traditionally. What's 51.2 divided by 4? Let's do 51.2 by 4. Now with these, when you're dividing a decimal, bring that decimal up first thing because that needs to count towards our quotient. And let's do this the regular way. 4 goes into 5 once. We subtract. We bring down our 1. 4 goes into 11 twice. 11 minus 8 is 3. Bring down your 2. And 4 times 8 gives us 32. And 12.8 is our answer for that one. All right, so your homework is IXL J4, divide decimals using blocks, complete the equation. Another one that uses models to kind of help you get your answer. All right, let me know if you have any questions.